Hi, my name is Dean Walker of Dean's Custom Designs, and this is part 3 on portraits on paper. What we're going to do now is I'm going to make mention, before I forget, is when you're using your airbrush, especially on fine detailing, you really need to have this thing cleaned out to make sure everything is working properly. Because if you come in on the fine detail, especially soft detail, which I'm going to show you, the gun can stipple and spit. So keep your pressure right and keep your gun clean. That makes you'll have it just like you want it. What I'm using on my paint for the highlights, especially on paper, you can use white, but make sure it's a soft white mixed with an opaque. When you do that, it'll tone it down and keep the paint clean, and that way it won't have this gray tone when you're going back over it. When you do them on paper, they're much easier to frame and make great presents. So I'm going to start doing some detailing on the ear, and I'm going to move over to the nose. And if you notice, I'm not using a lot of pressure, just trying to keep it to where it's real soft. Always study your photo as you're drawing, because every part of the body has a three-dimensional look, and you want to capture that little roundness with your airbrush to make sure you're creating the right tone. You always keep it soft, because if you don't, you'll have one big spot in the middle, and that's what you don't want. Okay, I'm going to move over to the nose here. The crown area of the nose is a high point. What I'm going to do is just go in and lighten it. That keeps it from looking too flat. Okay, now we're going to start on the hair. As you can see, I've already done some highlights in it. Again, keeping your airbrush nice and clean. I usually take the tip of the gun off so I can see the edge, so I can make sure I got a nice, clean, and precise tip. But I've already done, remember, when you're doing hair and any detailing, you want to go from light to dark. So I've already started adding the light in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to freestyle some of the dark hair in, and I'll come back with a short burst of white later on. Of course, you'll see the step-by-step on the photos later, but I'm going to go in. I've already got my light, so I'm going to start putting in the dark. But if you remember, I'm using my shading technique, so I won't go too heavy. And anytime I want to create texture in the hair, I can easily come in with this, and it gives you a nice blend of colors to see the gold or the kind of the honey brown in the hair. Again, when you come back, this is a final detail and rendering when you're going to do the highlights. So I'm actually blending this in so I won't go over. But if you notice, I'm staying away from it about 8 inches, and I'm making sure that I have a nice blend. You can barely see the pencil marks on it where I sketched it in, so I can always come back over each pencil mark that I want to and do the fine lines. So once it starts laying out together, it usually takes about, I'd say about 35-45 minutes to get the hair like you want it. But once you get it the way you want it, you can actually stop, and you've got something that's really nice to look at. Of course, this is, like I said, again, on paper. If you're using canvas, you can scratch the details into it and it won't cut through. But you don't want to do a lot of scratching when you're using paper. You can also use an electric eraser to get this done. It will give you some detail. I'll show you a little bit. And with the low RPMs, it won't cut through the paper. When you airbrush back over these, it'll give you the detail that you're looking for. You can also get the same effect if you're using your airbrush. You can switch colors. Of course, the same mixture that you use on the face, you can actually use on the hair, but you definitely want to make sure that it's light to dark. When you come in, control your airbrush, watch your distance, and watch your strokes. You can see how I get fine lines along with the heavy ones and the smooth ones. And once you're done, it gives you a nice color blend. With this type of airbrush, which is a dual action airbrush, you can get to pretty much a hairline with this thing. So practice makes perfect. Always keep going until you get it like you want it. But don't try to do an overkill. You can ruin your own picture by going too much. Again, always study your photo, because this is a very soft photo. The only thing that's detailed on this photo is the hair. So I'll be working on the hair for a while to get it exactly right, and you'll see the final rendering at the end of the YouTube. So remember, if you need any more information, you can go to my website, or you can just email me. Thank you.